I have great pleasure in attending this event which has been organized to release Gandhi, A Life in Three Campaigns by Shri M.J. Akbar. I had the chance to go through this book not in as detail as Ram Bahadur Rai ji has gone into, but have read first chapter fully and then some other parts also. And I feel that this is a work of profound scholarship, an exhaustive survey of Gandhiji's thoughts and his unique strategy to translate the thoughts into action, covering three major campaigns of his life. The book is an in-depth inquiry of the saintly, or I should say, mythical personality of naked fakir, whom we fondly call Bapu, who dismantled the mightiest empire in world history through mass campaigns, inspired and bound. There was certain maryada also. Campaigns inspired and bound by truth and non-violence. It is my earnest hope and desire that the book will be read widely, and I am confident that it will help the readers to understand the flow of events and spirit of our freedom movement. When we use the word campaign in the modern context, our minds meander into the world of public relations, which uses persuasion as the key to attract popular attention and acceptance. A recent book on the art of persuasion and power of reputation calls Gandhiji arguably, and I'm quoting, arguably the greatest public relations icon of all time, and the Dandi March as the most well-planned campaign of all time. Gandhiji's methodology involved three steps: enabling people to identify with a cause which transcended all divisive boundaries, to have a powerful symbol like charkha, khadi, or salt, and thirdly, to manifest his ideas in actions through events that captured the attention of the nation, nay, the whole world. Above all, Gandhiji ensured that all activities were smoothly communicated to the masses in a systematic manner. It was a world without internet and television, and we can only marvel at his achievements. Of all the prophets of humanity, Gandhiji seems to have been the most fortunate. No other succeeded in his lifetime as Gandhiji did in spreading his ideas and working them out on a vast canvas. None succeeded so well as he did in choosing the fields of politics, nationalism, and internationalism for the political application of his spiritual message. Starting his career in the oppressed continent in Africa, he sensed the racial character of the world conflicts. He expounded the spiritual concept of human fraternity and the necessity of cultivating the power of spirit or power of soul, Atma, to oppose the might of the empire based on racism and armed with power of science, money, and worldwide organization. Gandhi returned to India from South Africa at a juncture when Europe was locked in a gigantic struggle of arms and India was groping in darkness due to lack of leadership and a sense of frustration. Gandhiji, the inheritor of the spiritual legacy of India, the interpreter of India's ancient yet dynamic culture, and the prophet of a new humanism, assumed the leadership of the country and gradually collected all the scattered forces, spiritual, cultural, economic, intellectual, to guide them into a national movement for the rediscovery and reassertion of Indian soul. After Adi Shankar, who more than 1,000 years back had successfully created a new awareness about the cultural and spiritual unity in the then politically fragmented India, Gandhi was the first to transform that cultural and spiritual oneness into political unity and employed this new unity to give a determined fight to powerful British Empire through non-violent means. Here one may ask the question, what was the source of the extraordinary strength of Mahatma Gandhi, which enabled him to exercise such tremendous influence over the minds and hearts of Indians and win freedom for India? A study of Mahatma Gandhi reveals that he was deeply anchored in Indian spiritual and cultural values and ideals which view a person not in terms of the variable and alienable characteristics like race, religion, language, or community, but Indian culture views a person in terms of the invariable and inalienable characteristic, that is Atma, the soul. Centuries, cultures which are defined by race or religion, any civilization or culture which is defined by race or culture creates others because many people are left outside. Those who do not have the same color skin, or those who do not subscribe to the same faith tradition, they are left outside and they become others. Whereas culture defined by Atma is all inclusive. And at least in theory, it does not leave out anyone, including animals, birds, plants, or even rocks, as objects meant for exploitation. When we accept the basic principle of the shining truth of the divine nature of man as Atma, soul, as outlined by the Vedanta, we discover a new focus of human freedom, dignity, equality, and redemption built into themselves and waiting only to be discovered and unfolded. This awareness inspires and guides to produce stable and peaceful men and women of strong moral conviction. Through spiritual growth, they become focus of human virtues, including justice and compassion, It is through such persons alone that a society becomes just and grows to its full potential. These individuals, imbued with the spirit of compassion, are described in Indian tradition as dheer, who display the virtues of intelligence, courage, and steely resolve. Bhartari Hari, in his Niti Shatak, has sung the glory of thieves in the following words: Nindantu niti nipun yadiva istuvantu Lakshmi sama vistu gachatu va yatheshta Adya deva va maranamastu yugantareva Nyayat pathat pirvi chalanti padam nathira. Let Buddhist blame or praise. Let Lakshmi come or go away as she pleases. Let death come just now or after 100 years. The dheer never deviate from the path of Nyaya, that is justice or righteousness. And what is the source of extraordinary strength of the dheer? Is it physical power? Bahubal? No. Is it arthik bal? Economic power? No. It is intellectual power? The reply is even that is not the source of their strength. All these powers are important. But other than these, the Indian tradition recognizes a power which is superior to these powers, and that is Atmbal or Naitik Bal or Yogic Bal, the moral or spiritual power which is common heritage of mankind. It is not any esoteric or magical power, but the strength of character and conviction driving from the unfolding of the divine in the heart of man. Swami Vivekananda has described this phenomena as the manifestation of divinity that already exists in man. The Kena Upanishad proclaims that this Atmbal, the moral power, this energy is acquired through the knowledge of self. That is Atmagyan or Brahmgyan, and it says Atmana Vindate Viryam. It is the knowledge of the self which endows you with power. It is these men of extraordinary virtue, Dheer Purush, who have the power and potential to take the nation on the path of power and progress. The secret of extraordinary power of strength or power of Mahatma Gandhi was definitely rooted in his Atmbal. The London Times, after the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, the tribute which was paid by London Times, I would like to quote there. The Times said, "No country but India and no religion but Hinduism could have given birth to a Gandhi. The sterling virtue of the Dheer Purush is marked by singleness of purpose and complete concentration on a particular object, regardless of distractions from outside." And in our tradition, in the Indian tradition, the simile of a girl dancing on rope has been used to describe the Dheer Purush. Punkhanupunk Vishayan Upasevaman Dhiro Namunchati Mukunda Padar Vidya Sangeet Vadde Le Tal Vasham Gatapi Molistha Kumbha Parirakshana Dheer Nati. just as the dancing girl has her attention fixed on the water pot she carries on her head, even when she is dancing to various tunes, so also a truly pious soul does not give up his attention to the blissful feet of the Supreme Lord, even when he attends to his many chores. Gandhiji's commitment to Hindu ideals shaped his philosophy and approach. He drew inspiration from Bhagavad Gita and believed in the power of love and compassion in fostering social and political change. His faith in these ideals extended to the principles of truth, self-discipline, non-violence, and selfless service. Eko dharma param shreya, chame ka shanti ruttama, vidye ka parama tirapti, ahinse ka sukha. Dharma, that is performance of one's ordained duties, alone is the greatest. Forgiveness and reconciliation, the best way to peace. Knowledge alone brings supreme satisfaction, and non-violence ensures happiness. As early as 1921, writing in Young India, Gandhi said, I call myself a Sanatani Hindu, which refers to an unbroken and timeless Indian tradition. He wrote in Harijan in 1937, I have now come to the conclusion that if all the Upanishads and all other Indian scriptures happened all of a sudden to be reduced to ashes, and if only the first verse of the Ishopanishad were left intact in the memory, the Hindu religion would live forever. And this favorite line of his from Ishopanishad was Isha Vasya Vidam Sarvam Yat Kinch Jagtyam Jagat Ten Tyakten Bhunjitha Ma Girdha Kase Suithanam, which means that God pervades the entire universe, not just this tiny planet of ours in which we inhabit, but every particle in the, and today the right word is not universe, the multiverse. God pervades everything in the this multiverse. Therefore, do not, and everything belongs to God. Therefore, do not try to say that you own something. Just have the feeling of renunciation, and whatever comes your way, enjoy it. Do not covet the possessions of others. To him, the rest of the Upanishads or even Bhagavad Gita was merely a commentary on this verse, which this also showed Gandhi's faith in aparigraha, to which Gandhiji's moral compass was set. Shri M.J. Akbar has also in the book has written that Gandhiji's preferred text was Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which he described as his spiritual dictionary. All of us would recall that 3 years ago, Akbar Sahab had authored a book that touched upon the epic confrontation between Mahatma Gandhi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Title of the book was Gandhi's Hinduism, the struggle against Jinnah's Islam. What Shri Akbar explained therein was that the Gandhian assurance about faith nurturing harmony among compatriots was anchored in the ancient cultural values of India, which right from the remotest times have viewed diversity implying both acceptance and coexistence, and has believed that diversity itself can be a source of strength, and that all people should not be confined to one single interpretation of reality. Right from the beginning of our civilizational journey, India made the proclamation of an eternal verity, that the truth is one, but is perceived as many. Ekam sad vipra bahuda vadanti. All Indian scriptures have endorsed this proclamation and have asserted that it is ignorance of the self, it is lack of Atmagyan that creates the illusion of duality. Otherwise, the Jivatma itself is not different from Paramatma. Adi Shankar, in his famous work Vivek Chudamani, has written, Eta upadhi parajiva yotsayo samyang nirase na paro na jiva. Rajyam narendra se bhatase khetaka istayor pohe na bhato na raja. He says that the difference which we see with our eyes between the Paramatma and the Jiva, the God and the soul, the supreme truth and the Jivatma, the living beings, that is only because we have not been able to develop the Braham Bhav, some drishti, equanimity. Once we are able to cultivate it, then all the differences simply disappear. And the simile which he uses is Rajyam Narendrasya Bhatasya Khetaka. The ruler sitting in his palace and the watchman is standing on the gate. If you remove the titles and the uniform which both of them wear, then there is no difference between the two. It is the knowledge of the self, of Atmajnana, that removes the blinkers from our eyes, and then all differences disappear into thin air. On the other hand, Jinnahs, this is what I'm referring to the book, the earlier book of Akbar Sahib. On the other hand, Jinnahs, he has written that Jinnah's confidence was based more on political deals with the British. It is strange that a man who was described as ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity and who had even warned Mahatma Gandhi against involving in Khilafat movement, who was hooted by Muslim clergy and walked out from Nagpur AICC session. For he thought that mixing religion with politics was like these are exactly his words, that you are playing with fire when you get involved in the Khilafat movement by mixing religion with politics. But later, he advocated religious separatism and ultimately got the country partition. Admittedly, Jinnah had no familiarity with Islamic spiritual legacy, and he harped on Muslim exclusiveness as advised by Muslim, feudal, and theo-jurists. Maulana Azad, here the prediction made by Maulana Azad in 1946 becomes very important. And it proved to be true. Pakistan could not sustain itself, and within 25 years saw unprecedented violence, and it is split into two. The financial crisis and internal mayhem faced by Pakistan today is nothing less than an existential crisis. But whatever is happening there, will not surprise a student of Quran, because the book clearly and unequivocally warns the divisive forces of severe punishment as it was sent down on the divisive forces of earlier generations. Quran says, "Waqul inni anan nazirul mubin kama anzalna alal muqtasimin." I have come here only to warn you of the severe punishment which was sent to earlier generations for their divisive uh, tendencies or attitudes. They divided the society, they divided people, and those who divide the society. And I personally feel that that famous couplet of Maulana Rum is actually inspired by these two verses of the Holy Quran, where Maulana Rum says, "Tu baraye wasl kardanam di, ne baraye fasl kardanam di." You have been sent to bring people together, to create bridges between them, and not to sever them, not to separate them. It would not be out of place here to refer to an anecdote, because even Rai Saab in the end talked about this national unity. A quote by R.K. Prabhu in his book, to understand the mind of Mahatma on the question of national unity. During his memorable tour of Noah Khali in early 47, Gandhiji halted for a few minutes at the house of a villager. His name was Asghar Bhuyan at Dharampur. Gandhiji was given a warm reception, garlanded by the villagers. The children got around him and he told them, "You are all my friends." Then Asghar Bhuyan pointed towards a branch of a tree and told Mahatma, "You see, Gandhiji, this branch has two kinds of leaves on the same tree." Gandhiji laughed and said, "There is nothing strange about it. It is all God's creation. These two different kinds of leaves of one tree are like Hindus and Muslims of the same soil. But see how they are flourishing side by side in the same tree. They tell us that we should live as brothers in the same soil as these two leaves are living in the same tree." Finally, I will say that I know Shri M.J. Akbar for more than 40 years. I have enjoyed his kindness, his affection, and shall always remain indebted to him for having almost forced me to write a regular column for his weekly. It were those pieces, after he forced me, it were those pieces which were compiled into a book form, to which reference was made earlier. So he is not only an extraordinary author, but has the magic touch of turning somebody like me into an author. Thank you. I would like to give him my warm compliments for authoring this profound work on Mahatma Gandhi, who is not only our father of nation, but our role model as well. I am confident that this book will help us to understand the Mahatma better and inspire us not only to hail him, but try to imbibe the spirit of his teachings and act accordingly as much as possible. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.